Hi, welcome back to Joe Blogs. And as you can see, I'm not in the Joe Blogs studio. I'm out and about in the sunshine, catching a few rays, trying to continue on from what I'd talked about when I was on holiday, getting around and doing things a bit differently. And in today's video, I just want to give you a very quick update as to what's happening in Venezuela, because on Sunday, there is an election taking place. And this is a really big event. And if you've been following what's been happening, if you've been looking at the videos that I've been posting, the current president, Nicolas Maduro, is looking to get another 6-year term. He's been voted in twice. And in 2018, the election was deemed to be a complete sham by the USA. And that's one of the reasons why Venezuela is now facing all of the sanctions that it has, because Venezuela actually has the largest oil reserves out of every country in the world. Now, there are a few issues with those oil reserves because it does tend to have thicker, heavier oil, which is a bit more difficult to process. But even so, it should be a really wealthy country, and there should be lots of international companies in Venezuela right now developing oil facilities. But because of the sanctions and also some of the other issues that have happened over the past 50 years, that isn't the situation. And Venezuela is in a state of complete economic crisis. So realistically, you would expect that there should be a change of government because the current president has had 2 terms. He's managed the country through a state of complete economic collapse. Around 1/3 of the population of Venezuela have actually emigrated since he took over, and the oil industry is on its knees and it's in a complete state of disarray because there's been no investment, no overseas companies want to come in, and also they're struggling to be able to sell their oil because of all of the sanctions. So you would have expected, when you look at the big picture, that it's going to be a no-brainer, that everybody will vote for change and a new guy will come in and do things differently. But unfortunately, the person who was leading the opposition over the past 18 months, a very popular lady called Maria Corina Machado, has actually been banned from taking part in the election. So she's not able to actually stand against Maduro. But somebody else has been put forward from her party, a guy called Edmundo Gonzalez, who's a 74-year-old politician. So we won't get into the age debate again because that didn't go down very well in the recent video that I posted about Donald Trump and Joe Biden. But what should be happening is that everybody should be voting for him. But what we're finding now is that people who've left Venezuela have found it extremely difficult to be able to register to vote. There's 8 million Venezuelans who are living outside of Venezuela, and it's reported that only 68,000 of them have been able to register to vote. So there is now a huge wave of people who are traveling back to Venezuela to vote in this election. Now, it will be interesting to see what happens, whether or not we get a clear winner. And Nicolas Maduro has said that if he loses, it's likely that there will be bloodshed on the streets of Venezuela. And that's caused major concern amongst other South American leaders. They're basically worried that there's going to be some sort of civil unrest. Now, historically, the military have been supportive of Nicolas Maduro. So if he does lose, then there is a question mark as to what happens with the military, whether they accept the vote, whether he accepts the vote, or there's a big question mark as to whether or not it will actually be a fair vote. And if he does get voted through with a huge majority like he did in 2018, that's going to raise question marks as to whether or not this has actually been another sham election. So there's a lot going on in Venezuela right now. The eyes of the world will be focused in on the result of that election. If there is a change of government, I think there's a real possibility that Venezuela could turn the corner. The sanctions would probably be lifted. Joe Biden's already said that there would be a review of the sanctions. And over the last 6 months, there's been an easing of sanctions from the USA. So things are starting to improve. But all of that was based on a fair election process. That was the deal that the USA agreed, that this had to be an equal, fair arrangement. And if Maduro loses, he has to walk away. Whether that happens remains to be seen, but I wanted to post this quick video to let you have a quick update as to what's happening in Venezuela, and I'll do a much more detailed version once we know the outcome of that election, because that will then give us a very clear situation as to what's likely to happen over the course of the next 6 to 12 months. So hopefully you've enjoyed this quick update, you've enjoyed seeing me out and about in the sun again, showing off my tan. If you did, then please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, then don't bother. Don't forget, if you're interested in winning the Windswept Clock, you can buy a ticket by looking at the link below. And here's something to put a smile on your face.